this computer. Good morning, everybody. My name's Kate Cherry. I'm the Regional Director of the Athena Network in Bedfordshire and St Albans, and I'm joined here today by Kam Chauhan from Purple Coral Social Media Management. Kam, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic. So what we're doing today is what we call a member spotlight, which is where I interview someone who's in one of our groups, and Cam's in our Bedford group. Although she's definitely taking advantage of our free Pass Plus at the moment, which is where all our members, since we've gone online, can attend any other meeting nationally for free. So I hope you've got a lot lined up, Kam.
Yeah. 2 a week. I don't know how I'm going to manage. I've got two or three. I think this is 3.
So normally that would be £24 for you to visit as a member, wouldn't it? And you would have to drive there. So that's fantastic that you're able to do that. So for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, the Athena Network is a women's business networking and development club for female business owners or executives who are responsible for business development in their company. And obviously, until recently, all our meetings were face-to-face, but we've adapted to the current situation, realizing that people still need support. They still need that connection. You've got to build your pipeline during this time, even if your workbook has just been wiped. And so we've moved all our meetings online. And that means they're like this, which is we're using Zoom technology today for this interview, instead of being face-to-face or next to each other in a public place or in one of our homes. And what that has meant is that people can stay connected and keep getting their business message out there and keep that visibility, which is going to be key for then coming out the other end of this really strong. And our members can, while visitors can come along once to our meetings, our members can then go to any other national meeting than the meeting they joined for free, so that they can, spread their wings a bit further, which is great. So it's good to see you're taking advantage of that, Kam. I think I might jump on the phone myself. Yeah,
it's been great. I've done a couple of actual meetings and a couple of cappuccino connections, and the people that you meet across the country, they're fantastic.
Brilliant. I love it. We've got cappuccino connections this week as well, haven't we, on Thursday? So that'll be fun. Fantastic. Okay, so let's move on to you and your business. So what is it you do, Kam, and how do you help people?
So I'm a social media marketing consultant, and I help small businesses with all of their social media needs, whether it's through training, social media management, or creating a strategy to help generate consistent leads. The biggest pitfall is that lots of people I come across are convinced that you think of social media as selling, and actually it's not about sales. It's all about building relationships, and it's the long game. So before you even see any leads pop up, it's going to be a minimum of 3 months. We look at 6 months as a goal of before you start getting the consistent leads. But I help small business owners just generate those consistent leads after about 6 months.
That's amazing. And so are you finding at the moment, I love what you said about it's not about selling, because at the moment I think a lot of people are feeling that kind of ick feel about continuing to promote what they do, which is why networking is great, because we're there to do it. It's like you've got a pass of you're here to talk about your business, go for it. But outside of networking, I know myself in my other business, I've kind of been a bit, well, do I promote this product or do I promote that thing? And it's how do you say it in such a way that it's about helping? So are you finding your clients are sort of struggling with their messaging? How are you helping them with that?
They are. Lots of people have stopped posting altogether because they don't know what to post. The problem with that is the algorithm notices that, and when you then start posting again, it's starting again from the beginning.
Oh.
And on the other hand, you've got people that are just constantly posting about coronavirus and being at home. And actually, I don't know about you, but at the weekend when I was on social media, I was just depressed looking at it. You watch the news and it's depressing. You go onto social media, it's depressing. I was at the point where I just had switched it all off at the weekend. And actually, yes, this is going on, and the foreseeable future, we're going to be like this for a while. And I think what you need to think about is, as a business, what can you do to support people, but also just carry on being visible and don't dwell on the fact that we're indoors. Yes, we're indoors, but you're spending time with family. You are still working, you're still doing all these things, and you've still got to be out there promoting what you do. And like I said, it's not selling, it's building relationships. So if you can build a relationship with people at this time, it will eventually turn into sales 6 months down the line.
And you don't need to be talking about your product or your service to build a relationship.
I think in one of my I've launched scripts, which I'll talk about a bit later, but on Thursday I posted something about the fact why my wine o'clock is getting earlier and earlier each day with what's going on. And there was no discussion about social media, no discussion about what I do. It was just that common point of all the other, was predominantly women in this group, have gone, yeah, you know what, 3 o'clock, I'm opening a glass of wine or a beer at 3 o'clock, because it's no different. And a Monday night, it feels the same as a Friday night. It's all just one at the moment.
I think because we've managed to get through the day, haven't we? And I don't know about you, but one of the things I've found challenging is stopping, because we're here and there are no breaks. There's not the kids coming through the door from school. It's making ourselves, and my husband's having the same challenge, it's making ourselves stop, have breaks, have lunch, and then stop in the evening, because we just keep going. I think that's, while many people aren't so busy right now, many people are even more busy and have no boundaries.
Yeah.
So what brought you to social media?
Oh, very, 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 a bit of a long-winded story, but I was a primary school teacher for about 15 years, working my way up into management. Had my son 6 years ago, did the whole mum work-life balance thing, went back 3 days a week, very quickly realised it wasn't going to work. I was in a fortunate position where I walked out of my job with nowhere to go to. So I tried a few different schools, it's just the same politics, different settings. And then my husband said, look, take a year out, decide what you want to do, just be mummy. So I spent a year doing all the things that my son needed me to do, looked at a social media course, looked at the cost of it, and I thought, I'm not really sure if I want to do it. And I followed this company for about a year on social media, shows basic advertising was great, because everywhere I went, they were there, people were talking about it. And then a year into it, I thought, oh, let me try them, digital mums, train with them, see what I think. And that was my husband giving me that push, going, you're not going to know unless you try, because until you get out of your own head, you can't think of other things that you do, or it's related back to what you've always done. So I started my course, and while I was doing it, suddenly, I think one day I was sitting there thinking, actually, before I was teaching, I was working in marketing. So I've actually got a business degree that specialises in marketing, and I've suddenly done a full circle. And a lot of the things that they were teaching me was just refreshing something I learned 20 years ago. So it was this time last year that I finished my course. And then in end of April, I found my first client. And I've been doing it since. And I absolutely love it. Love it. It works around my son, works around family life. Times like this, it's great because I can sit at home and do it. But it's those challenges as well. Again, knowing when to stop and knowing, okay, enough now, let me do something else. But yeah, it's great. Wouldn't change it.
I love it. And I've been to one of your workshops, and you've done some work for me, and I know how much you know your stuff and how professional you are and how you go about it, which is fantastic. And you skip the gobbledygook. You work on practical stuff with people and help them actually get stuff done, which is really good, I think.
I think that's a problem, that lots of people, you get lots of training and they talk about things that you're never going to understand. Unless you're actually in it, you're not going to understand what's going on. But also with my background of teaching, I work with special needs children a lot. So in terms of teaching styles, I can adapt to any situation, which is great. And I'm hoping that the people I work with I don't talk to them like 5-year-olds.
Do you know, sometimes we need it. So talking of which, in the group we were in, so that was Athena, you did a session before our last Bedford meeting. So what drew you to Athena? You've been a member nearly 6 months now, haven't you, in our Bedford group? So how did that come about?
So when I first started working, so this time last year, I knew that I needed to network. That was a big thing. Everyone's like, we need to network, you need to get out there. And I tried a huge networking event. The first one I ever went to, there was hundreds of people there, and oh my God, it was mortifying. It was horrible. I didn't know what to say. It was sold to me when I saw the event. They said, "Oh, we'll introduce you to people." And it was literally, they physically walked me over to someone and said, "What's your name? What's your name? Talk," and walked away and left me. I was like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." Then I came across lots of women's groups. So I tried lots of women networking events. but I think, Kate, I met you at that first networking event. So Kate took my details. At the time, I then emailed the Milton Keynes director Anna, but we thought I was locked out. And then when Kate launched Bedford, I got an email asking me to go along. And at this point, I had tried possibly every local women's group in Milton Keynes and the surrounding areas, and then went to Bedford, and it just felt completely different. Walking into that room, yes, I still had that dread when I walked over the threshold, but it went very, very quickly. The existing members there were lovely. And the fact, yes, you are getting up and you are doing your minute, which that time it was, oh my God, saying that you get used to it very, very quickly. And actually, the women in the room are friends. They're not going to judge me. They're there to support me. And I love the fact that I was being trained to run my business. And that's what I think that's the biggest thing with networking. Yes, it's great that you meet people and great that you collaborate with people and you can gain clients. But for me, Athena is about growing my business. And it's not just all about getting clients and getting work. It's seeing how I can develop myself and grow the business into what I want it to be.
I love that. And you've made me think as well of my own experience and actually doing so much network, because obviously I'm in every group I run, which is 5, and I'm also a member in another women's networking organisation. And what I've found is being in that environment gives you the practice, doesn't it, to talk about your business, to then be a bit more fluent in your message and a bit more confident outside of that environment, because it just rolls off your tongue then, doesn't it? So something that's really, really scary at the beginning, you're then in the environment that you're doing it every month, but also you're trained at the same time. And I found that really helpful personally. What's been your highlight? What have you enjoyed the most?
I've got to be that spa day that you organised. But it's just more about the one-to-ones afterwards. The meetings are fantastic because they're very, very informative, but you don't really get to know individuals in such a short experience of time. You don't have time to talk for more than 5 minutes to people, but the one-to-ones afterwards, I've learned so much about so many people. It's great because at some point, what they do is going to help me, or it's going to help someone I know. And the great thing about Athena, which you mentioned earlier on, is that once you're a member, you can visit other groups. And actually going to the other groups, it doesn't feel any different to walking into our Bedford group. And online, and I know the first online one I did, I thought, oh, this is going to be really strange. But again, it feels no different. It's exactly the same, except I'm not eating.
Yeah, unless you've brought something with you.
Yeah, I'm just not organised enough. But yeah, it's no different. And that's what I really enjoy about the fact that every regional director, when you meet them, they will introduce you to someone else. You are never left standing alone, feeling like you're on the outskirts of a conversation, and people are just welcoming. And there's no pickiness.
No, which is, I must say, what turned me off networking initially. Yeah. And so what's your biggest piece of advice for anyone thinking about starting their own business? Obviously, we're in a completely different situation where anyone who may have been thinking about starting a business might be thinking, well, let me plan a bit more. But we've talked about a lot of people are putting in place 90-day plans now to be in the right place in the next 3 months. So what would be your biggest piece of advice, regardless of what's happening now, for someone looking to start out?
I'd say take the plunge, jump in with both feet, because you know what, you've got nothing to lose. And you won't know whether you enjoy doing it until you're actually in it and doing it. And you won't know whether it's going to work. And you've got to realise that business isn't straightforward. And I know the amount of tears that I've had over this, where things just haven't worked out. And I've got my husband there going, look, you've come from a teaching background. You've got to stop taking this personally, because I used to always be my own little bubble. That it's very, very different to being in a business. And just keep swimming, keep going, and one day you will get to where you need to be. Just keep that in the back of your mind constantly.
I love that. And what's next for Purple Coral? What have you got going on?
So I have just launched a Facebook group. So it's called Purple Coral Social Stars. I launched last Friday, I think it was. And it was something that was in the pipeline to start possibly June time. And because of our current situation, it just made sense. I've had lots of people messaging me, asking me questions, just asking for support for various bits. And I thought actually it makes more sense to have everyone in the same place so that I can provide lots of value and lots of advice and support and just offering things going forward. Once we're out of this, I am thinking that what my long-term plan was eventually to offer online training. I've started workshops in person and I really enjoy that. And I'm now sort of in a position where what I was planning to do in 3 months' time has just got to be brought forward because now's the time to do it.
Brilliant. Good. And where can we find your online courses?
So they are on my Facebook page, which is Purple Coral UK.
Right.
Or like I said, come and join us in my group, which is Purple Coral Social Stars. So come and find us there, and you'll find lots of, at the moment it's just full of women, but it's not just women. Lots of people there that are very similar sort of positions, especially at this point, going on a small business. What do I need to do? And there's lots of little tips and tricks that I use, and things that I keep on top of everything social media related. So every time they change the image sizes or they change something, I'm aware of it, so I just share it. And that way you don't have to keep looking for this information elsewhere.
Brilliant. I love that. Thank you so much for your time, Kam.
You're welcome.
If anyone, I want to try a high five actually. What side of your screen am I?
You're right in the middle.
Oh, so can you give me a high five to your, it's going to be to your left.
Oh.
I'm doing it the wrong way. I'm doing it the wrong way. You do it that way. Yeah. Other way. Other way. Yay, we did it. Should have practiced that.
Oh, I love that.
So anyone who'd like to join the crazy, we have a special offer on at the moment that for any visitor who comes to Athena, your visitor fee is going to be taken off your membership should you wish to join, and then you get all those benefits we were talking about of being able to network nationally for free, as well as your own group and your free training and development as well. So it's well worth doing, even at the moment that it's online. And yep, you're not belly to belly, but as Kam just said, you're still going to build some great relationships. And I think it's great because people are finding that there's nothing holding them back from having those one-to-ones that they'd normally have to drive to and find a slot in diary where you're both in the same town, everything's online now, so it's just business as usual. So thank you for your time today, and if you would like to know any more about the Athena Network, then you can contact me through this platform.